Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Let's do the whole darn weekend. Saturday, December the 1st is National Pie Day, National Eat a Red Apple Day, Bifocals at the Monitor Liberation Day, and Day Without Art, and Rosa Parks Day. Sunday, December the 2nd, National Fritters Day, National Mutt Day, and Special Education Day. Also, our son's 22nd birthday.
I know, isn't that crazy?
How did that
22
happen, man?
years old.
I don't know how that happened. I got a
We're
couple
old.
quotes. Saturday quote, a good criterion for measuring success in life is the number of people you have made happy. Richard J. Lumsden. I like that. And there are no working hours for leaders. James Cardinal Gibbons. I agree with both of those. I like that a lot. I think those are good quotes. And I've got a good guest joining us today. I hope I'm saying this right, Antero Pietila. He's got a book called The Ghosts of Johns Hopkins. We're going to chat with him coming up later in the program. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Want to honor a veteran? Consider giving to Veterans Tickets Foundation, a national nonprofit who supports our currently serving military, veterans, and family members of those we've lost in action by providing them with free tickets to sporting events, concerts, performing arts, and family activities. VetTix is dedicated to giving back to those who gave us so much. Learn how you can help at vettix.org. VetTix, TIX.org.
Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs, but first, Kim Kardashian revealed that she was high on ecstasy during her sex tape with Ray J.
That's super.
Mom and Dad must be proud.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't
so
understand.
Proud.
I'm still not really sure why the Kardashians are famous. We got another Kardashian coming up later in the news. It's just, I don't know. I don't understand that, but I'm not into the whole reality thing.
No.
There's some shows that we like that I guess officially are reality shows, but different kind of reality shows. But either way, we'll get back to something more interesting in a bit. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We're getting to the time of year where we start planning for holiday parties and other events that often include alcohol. I encourage you to have some alcohol-free options as well. And if you are drinking, be sure to have a designated driver. If you or someone you know has a problem with drugs or alcohol, there is help. TimeForRehab.com would love to connect you with someone who can be there for you or that loved one. If you feel like it's time to finally get the help you need, we're here for you. TimeForRehab.com. That's TimeForRehab.com. And this is your brain on drugs. Police in Ohio arrested a man at a traffic stop. He had 33 grams of meth stashed in his underwear. They say two men were arrested, 29-year-old Sebring man and a 45-year-old Diamond man. Canton Respiratory reports both men were passengers in a vehicle pulled over for a traffic violation. Police say the 29-year-old man had hidden drugs inside his underwear, and they were for sale. He was going to be, selling them. He was intending
Why would you want
to sell
drugs
them.
out of somebody's underwear?
I don't think that's probably what most people realize. But
Gross.
just keep in mind, those drugs had to
was
get to
probably
you from
selling crack.
somewhere. It was meth. But that's, in the crack neighborhood. So they did not indicate whether the driver was cited or not. Oh, boy.
That's
Thanks
gross.
for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, Kourtney Kardashian posed naked in this month's issue of GQ Mexico. First of all, I didn't know there was a GQ Mexico.
Me either.
Second of all, wouldn't it be bigger news if a Kardashian wasn't naked? I don't understand that. Gwyneth Paltrow's Broadway musical Head Over Heels is set to close early because of poor ticket sales. That's too bad. And this is really sad news. Heather Locklear. I always just thought she was so adorable. Heather Locklear's psychiatrist has put her on an extended hold for 2 more weeks. They need more time to assess her and her situation. I don't know what happened there.
I didn't know she was
I
somewhere.
think there was something to do with drugs and other things going on. And I don't know, pray for Heather Locklear. I always just thought she seemed like a neat lady.
She is adorable.
Yeah.
She's so pretty.
This has been Big Screen, Little Screen. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.
Every day, approximately 23 U.S. military veterans take their own lives. Big Paws Canine Foundation is helping to decrease that number, providing service and companion dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Partnering a hero with a specifically trained dog significantly reduces the incidence of suicide, and your support makes all the difference. Find out how you can help our American heroes. Join the pack at BigPawsCanine.com.
Now, your scoop of the day brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Big news, Heidi.
Okay.
News from Mars. I mean, have we ever had a chance to say that before? NASA's Odyssey orbiter beamed back 2 crystal clear images from Mars this week. It was Tuesday. I don't know how I didn't get this story
Don't we already have
sooner.
pictures of Mars?
Well, but this is from the new Odyssey orbiter.
Okay.
And it's a selfie. So the orbiter like stuck a little camera out and did a duck lips and took a. It's not quite how it happened, but they do have some really cool crystal clear images from Mars. Also, Dictionary.com has chosen their word of the year. What do you think the word of the year for 2018 would be?
I have no idea.
Misinformation. The word of the year. Now, I don't know if I can believe that. Maybe that's all misinformation. Come on, Dictionary.com. Do people use dictionaries anymore? Or do they just use
I have not
online?
used a dictionary for,
When I was a
couldn't
kid-
even tell you how long.
I bet I still have this book, too. When I was a kid, I had a dictionary that was like this thick. And I know this doesn't translate well to radio. I'm holding my hands far apart. It was huge. It was like 8 inches thick, probably. A gigantic, huge dictionary. And it was probably from the 50s or 60s. And I remember that we would look words up in that dictionary. And I bet I have it in the garage in one of those boxes.
Probably. I
got
bet
so
we
much
could find
stuff.
Jimmy Hoffa in the
I
garage
got
in
a
one
lot
of those boxes.
I got a lot of stuff in there. A study by Herbalife found that the average person will put on 6 pounds during the holiday season. Rookies. I can do that in one holiday, just in one day. Again, 6 pounds, the average that people will gain. I actually have a goal to lose weight over the holidays. And I've got a good plan for it, too.
All right.
I'm going to just stay home and sleep. I'm not going with you to anything.
Not going to eat at all. You're going to wither
No,
away.
that's probably not going to work. A man is suing a New
You
York...
probably should sleep, by the way. Your voice still isn't back. Neither is
know.
mine.
Here's the thing. I'm getting all the sleep that I need because I'm not tired. But I do, yeah. I still sound a little funny.
You do.
A man is suing a New York massage parlor after a male masseuse gave him a, quote, unwanted erotic massage, end quote. I don't quite understand how that all worked out.
A male masseuse did?
Male masseuse gave another male customer an unwanted erotic massage.
Yeah, I would be
So-
very upset.
But I'm just trying to figure out, you could say, hey, stop. What are you doing? I don't understand exactly what happened. I guess I could click the link and read it. It's in the show notes if you want more
Wow.
details. It reminded me of a friend of mine who's a comedian. I thought this was one of the funniest jokes that I ever heard him say. And he was talking about, he was introduced to a friend of a friend, and they said, he's a nurse, he's a male nurse. And he goes, well, I can see that he's male, so why would you have to say that he's a male nurse?
Right.
And then he was
We've talked about that
I know,
before.
but he was saying the only time I think that would really be important is when you're calling and getting a massage. They should let you know that Jamie is a male masseuse. He's like, completely ruined my expectations. In other news, a Tennessee inmate will be put to death this week. He's chosen the electric chair over a lethal injection, so you get to choose. So,
I would
kinda
rather
like-
have a lethal injection.
I don't know. I don't know what I would. I would rather not get put to death.
But if you had to.
I'm saying if you have choices, I would rather just.
yeah, I'd
choose
rather
to,
have a lethal injection. Because don't you just kind of drift off to sleep?
I don't know. I've never been put to death. I don't know if you know that, but it's never happened. And one last story here: a Vermont couple was busted for skinny dipping on a beach in Florida. And I have more of the details on this story. It wasn't just the skinny dipping. They were doing something in the water, and there were families sitting on the beach watching what they were
wow,
doing.
that's nice.
And then they got out of the water both
So it's
naked.
not like this was at night.
This was just during the day. And, yeah, it's a bizarre story.
That's nice. That's a good show for the children.
Yeah, it's not a good plan. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.
Are you trying to find the perfect gift for someone with a good sense of humor? FunkyMonkeyShirts.com has a good selection of funny t-shirts and more. Some with Christmas themes. One that even replaces the ugly Christmas sweater for your next party. Find some silly shirts at FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Also, learn how you can sell your own designs to make some extra Christmas cash. There's a link at the bottom of the page at FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. That's FunkyMonkeyShirts.com.
Thank you so much for joining us. You're listening to the John and Heidi Show, and we have a special guest today, Antero Pietila, and he is the author of a new book, The Ghost of John Hopkins, The Life and Legacy That Shaped an American City. How long did it take to put this book together, sir?
Well, it really compasses all everything that I learned about Baltimore during my 35-year career with the Baltimore Sun. I was a reporter covering City Hall and many other beats, education, police, and then I was foreign correspondent for 8 years, first in South Africa and then in the Soviet Union.
And this is kind of your life's work then, all that you've had a chance to work on over those years. You kind of put it into a book and let people know then.
This is my life's work, and it is a self-standing follow-up volume to another book that I did about Baltimore called Not in My Neighborhood, How Bigotry Shaped a Great American City.
All right, and I see that one came out about 8 years ago. Congratulations on the success that you had on that, and I hope that you have the same type of success with this book that you just put out. Now, let's talk a little bit about the ghost of John Hopkins, and what are some of the things we're going to learn in this book, sir?
Well, we learn about how money, power, and race affect an American city. The city is Baltimore, and the focus throughout the book is Johns Hopkins and his legacy. It's interesting that Johns Hopkins, the man, is nearly unknown in his hometown, even though his academic and medical institutions are famous worldwide and are the largest private sector employers in the city and the state.
But right there in his community, you say he's almost completely unknown?
He's almost unknown. It's interesting that many Baltimoreans, there is no biography about Johns Hopkins, and many Baltimoreans even mispronounce his name. They think that it is John. No, it is Johns. Johns was the family name of his great-grandmother, and so there are still Johns Hopkinses of modern day in Baltimore.
Oh, that's really cool. And I think I mispronounced it in the beginning of this interview, so you're right. I'm pretty sure that's probably something that happens quite often. So let's talk about Johns Hopkins and the life and the legacy that shaped an American city. Enlighten us a little bit about who this person was and some of the things that happened there.
He came from plantation aristocracy. His forefathers had received a land grant from the King of England. His own schooling ended at the age of 12. He became a merchant and banker and venture capitalist and became one of America's richest men. And he left his fortune to establish a university and a hospital that are unique in Baltimore at the time, because they were to treat indigents without regard to sex, age, or color. So he was a very progressive man in his day.
And what time frame was that this happened?
Well, he was born himself during the second administration of George Washington in 1795, and he passed away in 1873.
So this has been a little while back, you're saying?
This was a little while back.
And over the years, again, I've heard of Johns Hopkins University, and I guess I've heard of that, but I guess I've never really thought a whole lot about who Johns Hopkins was. And as you mentioned, I think a lot of people probably have pronounced it the way I have, without the S on Johns. And I wonder why that is, that he's kind of almost been forgotten, even though we see his name all the time.
Well, one thing is that he passed away before any of his institutions were open, so he was not the beneficiary of any of the fame of the institutions, and so as I said, he was a private man. There is no biography of Johns Hopkins because he simply did not leave enough documentation for a full-fledged biography.
Well, I think it's really cool that you're doing what needs to be done to kind of get that information out there. Was it hard to find information this long beyond his lifespan?
It was, but what is wonderful is that there are lots of books now available that have been scanned into the internet system. Google has done that, so that there are lots of books about his time, not about him necessarily, but about his time. For instance, one book that was very useful was a book about the 1832 cholera epidemic in Baltimore, and that is significant because Johns Hopkins himself he contracted cholera. He survived, but he had health problems ever since that cholera epidemic. And so that epidemic has been very well documented. And one of the reasons why there is very little information about Johns Hopkins and cholera is that cholera in those days was seen as a disease that affected people who were guilty of ungodly living.
Oh.
So when when the first cases of cholera were detected in Baltimore, the city's doctors had a meeting with the mayor and demanded that the mayor deny that there is any cholera in Baltimore. And according to the note taker, the meeting decided by a small margin that cholera to some extent existed in Baltimore. It ended up killing hundreds of people, more than 800 people.
Wow, that is absolutely fascinating. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, but also thank you for putting a lot of time and effort into documenting the story of Johns Hopkins and getting the information out there. I appreciate it a lot.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
And again, the book is called The Ghosts of Johns Hopkins, The Life and Legacy That Shaped an American City. It's available right now, and we're going to make it easy to find. We'll throw a link to it in our show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
If you want to grow your business, you can add more customers or sell more stuff to your current customers or a combination of both. There's no other way to grow your business. Just those two. Add more customers or sell more stuff to your current customers. And if you already have a relationship with your customers and you have their email address, you can reach out to them with special offers to easily grow your sales, and you'll make your customers even happier. Let the experts at Constant Contact help. Get a free trial now. Text Radio Trial to number 22828. That's Radio Trial, all one word, to number 22828.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
James Franco is a genius. Did you know that?
I did not.
He is a genius because he sold some invisible artwork. James Franco sold for $10,000 artwork that the person who bought it, he or she, can't even see. An art collector paid $10,000 for a, quote, non-visible sculpture created by the actor James Franco. The artwork was billed as an endless tank of oxygen.
What?
$10,000. I'm working on some sculptures in my mind right now. If anybody would like to buy them, just reach out. No, I wouldn't do that to anyone. James Franco.
I would. If somebody's going to pay $10,000 for my
brilliant.
imaginary...
Apparently. Thanks for listening to A Fun Fact.
FreshPatch.com is making dogs like me happy. They send out real grass pads for us to use indoors. Now when it's cold outside, I can go inside. And when I've used up the real grass patch, the mailman brings me a new Fresh Patch. It's the best idea since doggy treats. Convince your mommy to try it today. I suggest you try Puppy Dog Eyes. FreshPatch.com. Use promo code RADIO to save 10%. That's FreshPatch.com, promo code RADIO.
Time now for the grandiloquent word of the day. Today's word is jelogenic. Jelogenic. What do you think jelogenic means? Gelogenic. Jelogenic.
I have no idea.
All right. Well, now you're going to know. Jelogenic is productive or provocative laughter. Tending to produce laughter. Jelogenic. I like that. Jelogenic. It's a weird word, though.
Yes, it is.
I don't know that I'm going to use that one. There's some of these that I do try to wiggle into a conversation.
Yeah, I know you do, and you're starting to sound pretentious.
I do that usually during the day that we actually shared it. So, like, that's very jelogenic of you. What? I forgot what it means. Have to look in my show notes. Hang on a second. I do have a link to them in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
Want to honor a veteran? Consider giving to Veterans Tickets Foundation, a national nonprofit who supports our currently serving military, veterans, and family members of those we've lost in action by providing them with free tickets to sporting events, concerts, performing arts, and family activities. VetTix is dedicated to giving back to those who gave us so much. Learn how you can help at vettix.org. VetTix.org.
Now some weird news for you this weekend. Authorities stated that the police were searching a Florida man who disguised himself as a woman to buy a puppy with a stolen credit card. Oh, I got to stop for a second. I got a headache just thinking about all the stuff didn't we go through a lot there? It was a lot. Brian Farfan faced charges of grand theft and identity theft. Police say that he bought a French bulldog puppy from All About Puppies in Largo, Florida, back in October. They say that he was wearing a black wig, falsified adoption records, and misled them about the dog's future home. He used a stolen credit card and stolen Florida driver's license to buy the puppy for several $1,000s. Police believe that he obtained the puppy to sell the animal for a profit. All About Puppies is offering a $1,000 reward for the safe return of the puppy. So, Oh, they didn't search the man. They're searching for a man. Okay, that makes a little more sense. I was thinking, well, if they search the man, why don't they just take the puppy back? Searching for a man.
I see.
Those two words, for a, were pretty important. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Police say a Florida woman battered her boyfriend after he said no and went back to bed Thanksgiving evening. She grabbed him, well, you know where. By the handle, we'll say. 31-year-old Rebecca Lynn Phelps has been arrested now twice for the same thing. She's being arrested for battery charges. It sounds funny when you say battery charges, like you charge batteries. Mm-hmm. Two different things, though. I'll get back on track here. This is the second time in 14 months she's been arrested for allegedly battering a man who did not want to have sexual relations with her.
You boys may just want to avoid this lady.
Yeah, she's
a little crazy.
September 2017 was the last time. Now, it does not say if it was the same person, but the last person got smacked on the right side of the face and scratched when he said no. Doesn't say it's the same person or not. Anyway, she's to have no contact with the current victim. So that is
good Lord.
That is a bizarre story. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Every day, approximately 23 U.S. military veterans take their own lives. Big Paws Canine Foundation is helping to decrease that number, providing service and companion dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Partnering a hero with a specifically trained dog significantly reduces the incidence of suicide, and your support makes all the difference. Find out how you can help our American heroes. Join the pack at BigPawsCanine.com.
Now, fake news or Florida? This is where we read a story to my beautiful bride. She has to discern whether this is a true story that happened in the great state of Florida, or did we make it up to amuse ourselves and hopefully you. Are you ready for this one, Heidi?
I'm ready.
All right. Fake news or Florida? An off-duty Bradenton sheriff was busted for public intoxication when he jumped off a Ferris wheel mid-ride. Fake news or Florida?
Florida.
That story is fake news. Thank goodness. I'm really glad to hear that. I'd hate to hear somebody getting, hurt, probably, jumping off a Ferris wheel. That would be a bad idea. So, thank goodness, this time was fake news.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. For those of you who buy lottery tickets, you're definitely going to like this story. A couple who, they bought a lottery ticket and then kind of forgot about it. Have you ever done that? I have.
Yeah.
I don't buy a lot of lottery tickets, but
we hardly ever buy them.
It's usually only like when it's, hey, it's $6 billion gazillion dollars.
As if 2 million, 5 million, 8 million wouldn't be enough.
I'm like, oh, I better give me a ticket. But I only do it because I'm getting gas, and I'm going in to pay for gas. I'm like, what's everybody doing here? There's a giant line. Everybody's getting tickets. They're like, how many tickets you want? I'm like, I was just getting gas, but I guess I better take at least one now. This couple, they had 2 weeks to spare thanks to some last-minute Thanksgiving cleaning. They had people coming over for Thanksgiving. They're like, oh, let's tidy up the house. This couple in Louisiana found $1 million.
How much would that have sucked to have found
2 weeks
it late?
later. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So Harold and Tina Ernberg from Mandeville, I believe is where they're from. Anyway, it says here they were cleaning their house, getting ready for people to come over, and they found some lottery tickets. And they thought, well, we should probably check these. And they go on, and there was one that was a $1.8 million winner from June. 2 weeks away from...
could you imagine? Yeah. You know how... Oh, that would just be awful to check it and it's expired.
So we don't have any plans to buy anything crazy or go on any big trips. The most fun is going to be depositing that check, Harold added. That is such a cool story. I've got a link to that in the show notes. That's a cool, fun, good news story. If you come across good news that you think would just be, really fun for us to share, you could submit those stories through our website, johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.